Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Daily Live, joined by Paul Nealon in the studio. It is the 17th of June. The transfer window's open. It's wide open. They've fully extended it now. People can come and go as they please, providing you've got the funds. One player Everton have been very heavily linked with is Manchester City fullback Kyle Walker. We had this on the news yesterday. It was out last night. Romano hasn't given it the here we go, but he's given it the Everton are fully interested in taking him. 35. He was 35 in May. What are your thoughts?
Well, we took a 37-year-old, a 38-year-old Ashley Young at the time, so I'd absolutely have him. If the deal is right financially and we can work all that out, then I would absolutely have him. I mean, since he went to Man City, he's really grown into a leader, I think, both for England and for Manchester City. So I think it's we lost, or we're kind of losing a little bit of experience as well going out the door, so I think that could be just what we actually need. I know it's not what we need in that area in terms of age of profile, but in terms of a winner, a leader, and someone that can... He seemed to be quite popular in the Spurs dressing room. He seems to be quite popular in the Manchester City dressing room. I know he left and went to AC Milan and stuff like that, had his own off-the-field stuff, but in terms of as a footballer and in and around the team and stuff like that, I think, going in there, I think him with someone like Seamus would be big, around the place and stuff like that. And look, I mean, he plays most games as well. We need a bit of consistency in those positions. It means that if something ever does happen to our centre backs, that maybe Jake can fill in at centre half and stuff like that as well. So you're not over reliant on him. I think I'd be happy with it, to be honest. Yeah, you?
647 games, scored 12 goals, got 52 assists. He's played 516 of them at right back, 30 at centre back, 19 at right midfield, 1 in goal, and 1 at right wing. Never played left back, and people were telling me he's cover for left back as well, but he has gone over there during games, but never started. Mind you though, yeah, he's not down as ever playing left back. So
didn't he start there for England though?
I thought that, but in the Euros, but
him and Trippier
got switched. Trippier was the main.
Trippier was more of a left, I think. Wasn't he?
Maybe for England, maybe at club level, he's never started at left back. He's had 96 caps, won 6 Premier Leagues, 2 FA Cups, 4 League Cups, Champions League, Super Cup, Club World Cup, 2 Charity Shields, and a Championship title. So he's won quite a lot, really experienced. That's all the positive stuff. The other side is obviously he's had some off-field issues. He went to Milan. Didn't really pull up any trees at Milan. 35 years of age. I get it when people have got the reservations over it. But you have to temper that all with, we don't have a starting right back. Because we've got Jake O'Brien, who's a centre-back playing right-back, who was very good last season. Patterson, who people are unsure of, and some half will say he's not good enough, and the other half are shrugging shoulders, and rightly so, because we just don't know. Seamus, who in 3 of the 5 games he played last season came off injured, so that he can't be relied on, sadly. And he'd probably be instantly Everton's fastest player. He's still got some pace because we don't have it. So I understand the attraction from David Moyes, being there, done it, still performing. Arguably, if he wouldn't have fell out with Pep, he'd still be playing in Manchester City's team. Yeah. So he would obviously improve Everton because we don't have that. But I do get the reluctance from other people who want to see Everton moving in a different direction. If you get that, because obviously we want to see... We don't want to be weighting this summer down with 28-year-old plus, do we? Players. We want the younger players who we're going to develop. But you do have to be realistic, and you do have to temper it a little bit with, well, you need the other end of the scale as well, maybe.
I think you can't buy experience. I say that, we're actually going to buy it.
Trying to buy experience.
But you know what I mean, is that,
it's invaluable.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw him speaking recently about Spurs winning the Conference League, and he was talking about, or sorry, the Europa League, and he was talking about how much like he would have wanted to even swap one of his Premier Leagues to be able to do that. So he seems still quite hungry to achieve things, and I think if he can maybe help Everton achieve a trophy or something like that, that could drive him again as well. Look, it depends on kind of how long we were going to get him for. Like you'd imagine you don't.
A year it's been said. Whether that's
2
real,
years probably max.
I don't know. But they've said a year.
Yeah. Well, look, if the wages and stuff were right and they made a proper deal of, I think when we were with Moyes previously, didn't he want Walker years ago?
If Kyle Walker was speaking about that recently and said he wanted to come to Everton, and Moyes invited Kyle Norton to his house, but not him. So he got off and went to speak to Tottenham instead and thought they want me more than Everton, so I'll go there. So Davey had a faux pas there. Yeah, he had a shocker there because look at what he turned into.
Yeah, but like I have to say, like where he was at Spurs, he was a bit of an early man, and then he went into Pep's City team, and like he won everything. He had struggled to kind of at the time pick a better right back that was performing so highly.
He's in the World 11, I think. He's definitely in it once, but I think he was in it twice in his City period.
Yeah, but look again, semi-finals, finals, even with England, European finals, all of this sort of stuff. So he's been at the top for a long time. So I think we need players like that. You know, it's actually. It's nice to be going into a transfer window and we're linked with Manchester City players rather than, champion. Well, not that there's anything wrong with championship players, but I mean, players that are established rather than just kind of, players that you're struggling to even hero of and stuff like that. So I welcome it, yeah, and I would sign him, yeah.
Pet, let's bring you in on. James, I've put your mic up, I think. Where are you with the we didn't really get to discuss this yesterday, but where are you with Kyle Walker? Is this one you don't want anything to do with, or is this one you can understand the attraction?
I think Everton have got to balance it, haven't they? And we need a right back. We need a future right back. We need someone who's going to be our right back for many years. Is that person available right now? I'm not sure. Could the player be brought in at the same time as Kyle Walker and bedded in over a year with Kyle Walker rather than going straight in? I don't know. Or could this give Patterson a bit of time, a bit more time, rather than that being the pressure on him? I don't know as well. Kyle Walker can play centre-back as well. So it gives you an option of a fourth choice centre-back as well, maybe. So I'm not against the signing. I think what we've seen from Ashley Young shows experience is still a massively important thing. So let's wait and see what happens with it. As I said, when Ashley Young got brought in, he was obviously even older. There's so many naysayers, but I think you just have to see. And if it is just a year, then it's sensible, isn't it? It's a sensible thing. I think they should have. I don't know if I've seen a player fall off a cliff faster than Kyle Walker. You go back to September, October, when Arsenal played Man City at the Etihad, the 2-2. The day Rodri done his injury, and he was still playing. He was still a massive part of the Man City team on that day.
Yeah.
And then very, very quickly, it just seemed to go so quickly. And I've seen it the other day for England, and I think wasn't he a fault for maybe not a fault, but one of the goals, the equaliser maybe. He just gets done completely. Like, it's not even his pace, it's like his awareness. So he is a player in decline, but maybe it's just a case of Everton getting the last drops out of him. And if it is over a year and Everton do have the next right back lined up, or maybe just Jake O'Brien being in competition, Patterson, maybe it gives Everton an opportunity to buy elsewhere. And as we were saying yesterday, Everton could do with some easy wins, tying some players down, getting the squad bulked out. There's a story about the Disagana gate just popped up on socials, and it's it's going to go round quickly, and people are going to start getting a little bit stressed out, I think, over little things like that. And if you can add your players in, I think Everton do need to just get a couple in the door or get a couple signed and done, just to take the pressure off, like we were saying yesterday. Otherwise, fans are going to start stressing out. We know they are, because that, you know, everyone will anyway. The squad is so short on numbers that people will start stressing out, and that's not what you want. It's not what you want going into a summer where there's a lot to do. Just show that you've got a little bit of control by bringing in a player and getting one of your senior players sorted as early as possible. Just show that you've got that control, and just keep the naysayers and the doom merchants away from infecting the fan base. Because we know what it's like at this time of year. You see a couple of teams buy some players, and the next minute everyone's getting really worried. Well, that's in a normal summer. This is a summer where we really do need to bring in 10 players, and they've got to be 10 first team players. So let's just go. If they are going for Kyle Walker, get it done. Just get it done. If that's who you want, get it over the line. If it's not, then fine, it's just another rumour. But let's start converting some of these interested into signed and sealed, if they're the players Everton really want.
Yeah. I mean, if you were given a choice, there's obviously Evan. Tetty's been mentioned today. He's obviously just about to come out of contract with Fulham. Kyle Walker-Peters, we know, is just about to come out of contract with Southampton. Kufal, I'd rather Walker than Kufal every day of the week and 3 times on a Sunday. They're 3 to mention. Other options for David Moyes. When you put them in with Kyle Walker, is the one you'd go, actually, if I had the choice, I'd probably take him over Kyle Walker. Is there any of the others?
For me, Tessie didn't stand out as much, so it's just my personal preference would probably be Kyle Walker, to be honest with you. But again, it's more than just how he plays and stuff like that. It's what he brings. Like, we're losing a big character in Ashley Young, in and around a kind of fairly young enough squad, and you've just got Seamus there. And Tarkovsky, so I'd like another kind of older head in the room, and again, someone who's been there and done it, because not a lot of these players have been there and done it in terms of in big games or anything like that, when we need that little bit of experience to calm things down and stuff like that. I think he'd bring a bit of that to it. Now he might be, as Ped said, going through a bit of decline, but if Moyes can get a bit of a hold on him, and then we start to see his like, because when Ashley Young came in, he didn't hit the ground running straight away. Like, he did struggle. I don't think many people were a fan of him in the first year. No. And then it was the second year we kind of saw, oh, okay, and he was getting sent off and stuff like that. But you saw what he was bringing to the side and stuff like that. You remember the game against Nottingham Forest to help us stay up. Like, I think he won the penalty, and he was just big for us. And I think Walker, obviously, he's younger. He's faster, you know what I mean? So he actually would bring us something. He would give us something that we don't have on that side. So yeah, and he can play different positions. So again, that versatility could come in vital for us. And if we lose Michael Keane, you know, we have the other option there as well. And between him and Jake, then they could fight out for a right back spot or a centre back spot. Yeah. And I'd just be more inclined to get more bodies in as well. But I'd like Kyle Walker be ready-made, ready to go, ready to start for the first game of the season, and that's kind of what we need right now.
Carl Byron says, I don't get why whoever we go in for, some fans moan at every link. Get a grip. Mark Foster says, my hot take was no. However, if it's a nominal fee and he takes a wage cut, it's only a year, then at least it'd be worth at least considering. If only Patterson had been a good buy. Wayne R says, yeah, he's 35, but he instantly adds quality and crosses into our team. Bob says, Walker is a winner. He'll be thinking, if I set Everton on fire, I can get to the World Cup. That's why we should be getting him and Grealish. Scott Bevan says, people say no to Kyle Walker need to ask themselves, is he better than what we have? And the answer will be yes. Plus, it'd only be a stopgap. We could buy a starter next summer. And Blue 96 says, Kyle Walker-Peters has been relegated twice in the last 3 years. What's Walker won in that time? 5 trophies. And Corey Blizzard says, be a great leader, and I still think can put a shift in. Could be good for him. Getting away from City, not getting away from them, like, you've got to get away from Man City, but you know what I mean, moving away from pep and the intensity that he's had there doing that same kind of thing for many years now, doing it really top level, might invigorate him, having a fresh challenge at this stage in his career for a year. There's a World Cup at the end of it. Different voice, different manager, different fans, different. It feels different for him. Could potentially, like I said, reinvigorate him for next season. And like you just said, he's someone who, if we get the fixtures tomorrow, of course, if he's playing right back on the opening day, why would people... Sorry, to reframe it, a year ago, if we'd have said Kyle Walker will be our right back for the opening game of the season against Brighton, people would have been made up.
Yeah.
Because a year ago, we were starting for Manchester City in the Premier League. Okay, he hasn't had a great year. Of course he hasn't. And that's why Everton might be able to get him, or another club might be able to get him on a free transfer, it's looking like now, or a nominal fee. He'd obviously have to take a big wage cut. That's up to him. Doesn't have to, don't come. Who's taking...
I'm sure he gets some signing on fee as well.
Exactly, you know, there'll be stuff. So, yeah, you know, I do get some fans being a bit, that's not really the messaging, but I feel like maybe some fans have got to temper what their expectations are this summer.
Well, most people there were
no, but then there's a lot saying no as well. I will read a few of them out in a minute. But what I mean by temper is we should never drop your standards. But if we aren't buying 9 or 10 players under the age of 23 to build this new creative squad, it ain't happening. Not happening with David Moyes as the manager, because he wants, like you just said, Kyle Walker's ready to go. He can almost just go, there's the shirt, go and do what you do. And he'll want to craft a team, Moyes, and that's what he does. And to craft a team, you have to have a bit of everything. The key for me will be that we do buy those younger players, 23, 24. We do buy the core of them are that. And if it's weighed out a bit by a Kyle Walker and a Jack Grealish or someone else at that, you know, we're talking about 2 Man City's players who've played in their team in the Premier League last season. Big characters for them. And Everton have been able to Everton have been linked with them. We'll see whether anything happens with it, could whatever. But a year ago, us to be linked with Kyle Walker or Jack Grealish would have been an absolute piss take.
You would have bitten your hand. Yeah, you would have bitten someone's hand off.
But it had never been said, because people would have gone, "Don't be silly."
Yeah.
Like, what are they smoking over there? And that just shows you, I guess, how much the club's moved forward in the last year. Now, David Moyes might be looking at these going, we know there's an interest in Kyle Walker. Whether Everton go fully balls deep for him is a different thing, isn't it? There's an interest there, but there's an interest there because he's a very good footballer and has been there and done it. Whether he's perfect for Everton, that's a different thing, but...
Yeah, look, I just don't think you can turn your nose up when if these sort of players are available, and we're not in a position, like we kind of need this next season to go well for us.
Yeah,
we need to be trying to aim for Europe. You know, if you have players there, whether he's on the decline or not, he's still going to be able to command respect from the players around him from what he's achieved in the game. So in that aspect, people will listen to him. You know what I mean? So I just think, if he's available and we can do it and we can get a deal that's right for everybody, I just think I'd do it. And to be honest with you, I'd be happy if he was starting for us first game of the season against whoever it is. If we can get Grealish on top of that, I mean, and if we can manage to get him on some sort of loan and Walker on some sort of deal as well, and then we get a couple of those younger sort of players that you were saying on maybe a higher fee, I think we could be in good shape. Genuinely, and I haven't felt like that in summers gone by for about 6 or 7 years, or maybe longer, and probably since COVID.
Yeah,
you know, and I just think with what he's achieved in the game and stuff like that, like, he's just going to automatically command respect, and Moyes, I know, will have him as a trusted lieutenant in pretty quickly as well, if we get him, of course.
Toffee 1878 says it's been rubbish by the Echo. It hasn't, I just read it. The Echo have just said it's not as far along as what someone's reporting, but Romano, with all due respect, is probably more is correct more than the echo's correct, I would suggest. Because people, for whatever reason, whether we like it or we don't, go to him with the state of play with a lot of stuff. So he might not come. But Darkheart says Walker is better than what we have, even at his age. Yes, please. Michael James says Kyle Walker would be a great deal for us. The centre-backs can learn something from him. Good cover, not too expensive, and is better than Coleman and Young. Carl Byron says everyone is either finished or underexperienced. For some Evertonians, can't win. And a few, like up the Trophies, are saying he's finished. Why would we be getting him?
But it kind of reminds me that when we used to get a lot of United scraps, and you know, a lot of them worked out well.
Yeah, listen, we'll see, right? We'll see. We don't know, do we? It's just that's out there right now. I wouldn't want to be paying him huge wages. No, that's for sure. And I don't think Everton do. Do
maybe James Smith has something to play in this.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, come from City, so who knows? Wayne says it's not all our fans that moan, just a minority who love the moan. I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I'm not trying to tell people you should be made up with it. But if it's balanced, and I think there will have to be a balance, there's got to be a balance, hasn't it?
Yeah. But if it makes our squad stronger, I think it's a no-brainer.
Exactly. I mean, look at, Gareth Barry. Evertonians said Gareth Barry was finished when he came in.
James Milner from City to them.
To Liverpool he was finished, and then Milner to Brighton was finished, but Brighton, they made up with him, even though he's been injured a bit, but it's what he sets. But like you say, I wouldn't have the way, as long as the wages aren't terrible then.
Yeah, but you'd like to think that we aren't going to be stupid with those sort of things anymore with these new owners. So that's what you'd like to think. So if they can negotiate something, or whoever's in charge of that side of things can negotiate those sort of things, and and we got a few in like that, you could be thinking by the end of the window going, like, was really fearing that window, but now when you kind of look at our squad, especially on paper, going into this, into the new stadium and the new season, you're kind of going, actually, you know what? It's not as bad as we thought.
No, exactly.
That's just me being super positive.
No, well, it's a way you've got to look at it. I think, again, you have to take a step back. I have people, we were strongly linked to Tierno Barry the other day, and I've seen people saying, don't want him, he's not good enough, looks raw. We need someone who scores 20 goals a season. I was like, who is that? Tell me who it is. But you can guarantee you'll get 20 goals, because say it quietly though, because Liverpool want one, Arsenal want one, Chelsea are just buying everyone in case they've got one, United want one. So who is it? Who's the guarantee? Only Harry Kane who will guarantee you 20 goals. Never not buying Harry Kane. No. And if we did, people would tell you he was finished because he's 30. Do you know what I mean? It's like there is that thing of, I don't think there's anybody really who Evertonians will universally agree on. Football fans, forget Evertonians, football fans, because everyone will always have an opinion. I've seen some Liverpool fans moaning about Wirtz. Why are we paying that for him? We could have got better deals elsewhere. And there's others who he's now the greatest player ever to walk the earth.
Like the centre-back.
Exactly. But you get that. You'll get that from all football fans. And that is what makes football what it is, because we've all got different views. But I just think there does seem to be a lot of people, maybe they're just the loudest, who are shouting down every link Everton are with, whether they're old or the young. Yeah. So it's like, if that's the case and you're really not happy with anything,
it's all a different sport.
You're gonna be in trouble this summer. You're gonna be a long summer for you.
Yeah, but
and don't forget, a lot of these people moaning are the ones who said Everton were the worst squad in the league last year and would get relegated.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Yeah, well, I just think, look, regardless of the moaning or whatever, it's up to the players to prove it. So, I mean, how many players have we been wrong about and have proven us wrong, or like better. You know, I sat here whenever we played Liverpool, lost that game, and I was like, no, he has to go. We need better. But he's improved, and all I wanted was to be proven wrong by him. You know, I would have been moaning about him playing every week, but he's gone. He's worked hard. He's got goals. He's got big goals, and he's helped us win games. And that's all we kind of asked for, and just like his 100% effort. And after that, you'd hope that he'd make your own look. And I think at times he did make his own look in different games and stuff like that, and got goals. Like you think of Fulham, that one that crept under Leno and stuff like that. So he's made his own look in those scenarios and stuff like that. So I think if Walker or whoever it is comes in, it's up to them to, you know, let their performances do the talking, and the owners can say whatever, and then you'd be hoping that we'd be finishing, as James said, when we finish in Europe next season, please God.
Just being in a race to try to get into Europe, even if Everton don't get there, would be a massive improvement, wouldn't it? Massive improvement.
Just not going into a season and feeling gloomy about everything. I think that's what we've all wanted. We've all gone into the last 3-4 seasons, you'd probably say, probably the last 3, since Rafa came in, they've all been just like awful. Summer transfer windows have been abysmal.
They have been abysmal. Yeah.
It's a big refresh, it's a big change, and you feel like there's a big change kind of on the horizon. Because obviously we've a new stadium to go into, we've new owners, but everything seems to be like new. So we've got new players. We're going to be seeing a lot of new players lining out for us now that we don't know a whole lot about. We're like in an Everton jersey, like you know. So it's exciting in a sense, but we have to get it right as well. You know, there's a lot of pressure and expectation on the manager and his kind of recruitment to make sure we get this right. But I can see why he's identifying players like the ones that we've been linked with in terms of a Grealish or a Walker or something like that, because they have been game changers in the past. Maybe not in recent seasons, but we've seen Moyes do this with a lot of players who've kind of, they look like they need a little bit of nurturing to get them back to their old ways. We've seen it so often, obviously in his first spell of him doing that, you know.
That's true. Up the trophies, I totally disagree, but you're entitled to your opinion. Our level is staying up and getting mid-table. We've just finished mid-table. Nothing's relegation shouldn't even be a word in your head. So Everton's aim should be getting more points than they got this season. Forget about relegation. It's a thing of the past. Forget about it. Everton's aim should be 50 plus points. Now, we just got 48 by throwing half a season away on a fella who didn't have a clue. It's a different beast, totally. So I totally disagree with that. The trophies bit, yeah, fair play. But the mid-table, mid to upper, yeah, but stop. Staying up, not a thing. And Chris Wood's 33, and I don't think he'd leave Forest for Everton. Forest in Europe. So,
we don't need him. We've got better.
Exactly. And Tom S, I think, said something before. Yeah, people talk about 20 goal strikers are living in dreamland. There's only been about 20 odd different players in the last 20 years who scored 20 or more. And Lukaku's the only one to ever do for Everton.
Yeah, what a loss.
Michael Cox, Everton are looking at players 21 to 23, but they're not going to bring in 9 or 10, 21 to 23. It's just not going to happen. So there's that's the way it is, isn't it? You've got to make your peace with it. Otherwise, you're gonna live a miserable life, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because you're never gonna be happy with anything. So, but yeah, just see what happens. We have to sort of just see what's happening. Go with it a bit. We can't look at. I'd get it if we still had sort of the same regime in charge. I'd understand it, because I'd be thinking, I'd be there with them. I think going. Yeah. This is what we normally do, and this is what. But let's see what the new sort of look Everton do this summer. We don't know, do we? We all know that in general, it's not really going to kick off till July the 1st, and we might grab a couple, like Ped's just said, or we might grab a couple in now if it's not a fee, or just or agreements at least. But it'll kick off on July the 1st, or after July the 1st with the money side of it. Let's see where we go. Let's be positive. Let's be excited by it, and see. Let's not put boundaries in that we don't know whether they're there or not yet. With the new owners, let's
and we
go.
need to be proactive as well.
Let's be exactly, and fans though, we've got to play a big part in it. Talking down every link we get, he's crap. Like who would people going to be happy with? I've seen people loving McAtee, and I've seen others saying no. What's he ever done? So you're like, well, okay. Well, who is it then? Because we don't seem happy with anybody.
Yeah, if it was Messi, they'd complain saying he's finished as well.
But you know what I mean? It's like we have got to sort of go, right, come on, we have to go.
Yeah. I just have to get behind what the manager is trying to achieve in terms of his transfers, because we've seen him do it before.
Exactly. You've got to aim to improve every season, haven't we? That's the aim. Every club does the same thing. Every club, or should be aiming to be better than you were the season before. And up the Toffee says, when we don't get it next season, what then? I presume he's talking for people who say they want to get in Europe. Well, then you try to get it the next season, don't you? But you keep aiming. You don't go, 17th. I think the brainwash is worrying that Sean Dykes did to some fans, and he bought it. It was terrifying what went on. Got totally gaslit for a half season. And David Moyes come in and was like, no, this is where they are, and the miles better. And he proved it. So you aim every year to be better. That's all you can do. There's no guarantees. Everton could have the best squad they've ever had in when the window shuts on September the 1st. It wouldn't guarantee anything, would it? The manager would have to pick the right team. The players would have to go and perform. You could have a squad where I remember in 04-05 season, just sold Rooney. We brought Marcus Benton and Tim Cahill, and people were moaning about Cahill coming in. I remember quite, who's this 1.7 million from Millwall, like he's going to do anything. We got bounced 4-1 at home by Arsenal on day one with no Rooney. It looked like people were going down. This is the year we go down. We finished 4th. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When Moyes
big
went,
wins that year too.
The which?
We got some big wins that year.
Exactly. When Moyes went and Martinez come in, and people were a bit like, I don't know what'll happen. And right the way to the end of the window, people were going, we're in trouble here because we've lost Moyes. We've got nothing. We haven't brought anyone in, really. Aruna Kone and Joel Robles from Wigan. And he brought in Lukaku, Gareth Barry, James McCarthy all on deadline day, but Sol Fellaini was a big player for us. And we got our record points total. So when you look at squads, sometimes you go, we don't know what we're going to do. And sometimes we've over it, if you want to call it over it, or we've done better than some people expected. Other times we've done far worse looking at the players. Why are we where we are? Martinez is 2 seasons after it. We're horrific. When you look at the team he had, we had a 25 goal a season centre forward, and we finished 11th twice, which is almost impossible to do. But he couldn't defend. So you've got to just let everything play out. We'll know on September the 1st, when the window shuts, what kind of shape we're in.
Yeah.
This manager's a manager I've trusted more than any manager. So, and I include Carlo in that because we didn't have the funds to really give Carlo. And he was only there for 1 year, wasn't he? So you've got to sort of go, let this play out. Let it play out. July the 1st, things get better. And we have to sort of see who brings in. But if you think, like I said before, that the 10 players he's going to bring in 20 to 23, then you're in for a long summer, because that ain't going to be the case. But there might be a good mix of ages, and that's what you have to do, because you have to try to blend what we've got. We've only lost Decore and Jack Harrison, really, from the team that was playing. Okay, Idrissa Gana Gueye, we'll get on to him in a sec. It's imperative, in my opinion, that he stays. If he does, we've only lost Jack Harrison and Decore. A lot of people wanted Alcaraz in anyway at the end of the season, so he's here. If we get a right winger, I'd say that the chances are he'll score more and create more than what Jack did. So therefore Everton would be better, just straight up by getting 2 players. Maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, quite clearly, Moyes wants 9, 10. And if you're building up the level and stuff like that, then we'll be in a good position, won't we?
Yeah,
This is a building.
We've got one obviously done in Alcaraz.
So we're building blocks, aren't we? We've finished the season really solidly, really strongly with the team, with the squad that we've got. Now can we add the quality to it and keep that? You never know how it's going to be one season to the next, but you got to hope. You got to be. If you can't be positive now, when we're moving into a brand new stadium, we've got Moyes there, we've got new owners. We finished the season strongly. We finished 13th, the highest we've been for a bit. We got 48 points when we only had 17 in January.
I'm with you 100% on that.
Now, I'm going to try and be positive for the next, while we haven't kicked the ball, because until we kick a ball, we're the greatest team in the world, and no one can disprove it
And what,
until
2
we
weeks?
kick a ball.
2 weeks till the transfer window opens. Then, or sorry, not the transfer. July the 1st.
July 1st,
People are out of contract and stuff.
Yeah, just see what happens, don't we? Ken says, Baz, what would you think would be optically better if they announce young signings first before older players, or the other way around? I honestly haven't got a clue, Ken, to be honest. I think if they're free, then the likes of Kyle Walker, say, or even if it wasn't him, if it was like Walker Peters or whatever, I think that's okay if they're free. And then you went and got a Walter Maid, Tierno Barry type of player for like a fee like that. I think fans are, do you know what I mean? I think if you give most fans a choice, they'd like you to buy all the young promising ones with all the money. And then if you padded it out with a Kyle Walker at the end and someone else, people go, oh yeah, it's like more palatable. But James, you're a young fan. So what's it? How would you prefer it? Would you, like when Everton start bringing the players in, to bring in these older players now and then follow it with younger players? Or if you had the choice, would you want it to be the younger players and then pad it out with?
I think definitely as soon as the window opens, you want it where like we have got like a Tierno Barry and someone who is young, and you can be excited about that. They're going to be that sort of, I don't know, that Richarlison or that Lukaku, like the next sort of like big sort of Everton player.
Yeah.
But I think as well, signings like Kyle Walker, signings like Jack Grealish and stuff like that, I think could be great. I'm all for both of them. I know as much as people like don't really want Kyle Walker and stuff, but 2 years ago he's probably the best in his position in the world. So it's better to be going for players like that rather than players who no one really wants, like a Kufal or stuff like that. And I think it's a weird one because there's going to be 10 players signed this window, so there's going to have to be a good mix of young and old. But if you can get the old as people who have like won trophies and won big trophies and been key parts of it, then I just don't really see the problem with it. I think he has played left back for England, or even if it was just a little bit, and he's played centre half and he's played right back. So we were talking about Kyle Walker Peters saying he'd be perfect as a backup to Michalenko and sort of competing with Jake O'Brien. I think Kyle Walker does the exact same as well. So yeah, just a good mix really. But I think people are worried that we're going to sort of fall into a chat where we're not going to get like the good young players. I think that's where worries are mainly coming from. But
yeah, and I agree. I'm fully sort of understand that and agree with them. I think they're right to have those concerns, because it's about Everton now trying to change that. But it is, like I said, if this was still 12 months ago regime, I'd be there with them. I'd be there with them going, are we just going for free transfers and older players? Is this the same again? And if it is, we're going to be in the same boat. But I don't believe that that's the case at all. I believe we've got 9 or 10 positions to fill in the squad, and the manager's
probably 9 now with Alcaraz in, yeah. And if we can get Seamus and Guy, and I think then we need probably 8 after that. And if you get Walker, that makes it 7, and then you're kind of getting down the list quick enough of like ready-made players ready to go Like, you think it, Barry, like,
Yeah.
is he going to be able to come straight into the team? You'd probably say Beto would probably start the first couple of games if he's fit.
Yeah, but wouldn't you? And I think this is what Moyes does. You're right. See, the idea might be Beto starts and he comes into the team, but if Everton get him in, Moyes will want him in America. If it's Walter Maid or if it's Barry or if it's... He'll want him in America because they're there for 12 days or something. It's important to be away with the team. There's games there. If he... Say it was Tierno Barry, let's just use him as the example. Everton get him in. Moyes will want him over there. And he's over there and he looks lively. And you're looking and going, look at his attributes, and he's better than, looks a bit sharper than Beto on the ball or whatever, and he's looking lively. Why wouldn't we start with him? It's everyone's shirt's up for grabs, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if Barry comes in and he's got to take a bit of time, and we always use that excuse, don't we? Oh, got to get to know the players and all, and that's there's some legitimacy in that. But why not? I wouldn't be against Beto starting day one.
Yeah.
He's had a really strong end to the season, so why not?
But that's what I mean. It is that bit of a difference now, is that, like, we can go, okay, Beto starting for us isn't going to be a problem. Whereas if you were saying it in January last year, that's a big problem. So the fact of the matter is that if Barry or whoever as a striker comes in, then there's not as much expectation for them to come straight in. If they come in and they do well, great. But if they don't and they're brought on for the last 10, 15 or last half an hour, then that's fine too. But it just means that we, like, the fact of the matter is now is that we are not, like, even when we go behind in games now, we actually look like we're going to score goals. Whereas obviously under the old manager, we never did. Once we conceded, that was it, game over. He just knew. So I just think if that is the case with the strikers or whatever, and then if you're building blocks around that then in the different positions, I just think we're in a really, well, it'll tell by July 1st if we're in a good healthy position, but I feel like we are. I just have trust this time around that we're going to get things right this summer, and we have to.
You've got to be excited, surely.
But I don't think of too many summers over the years when Moyes was ever in charge was that we were left very disappointed. Not too many of them. We were always kind of, we've got a good squad. We know what we're working with, and he kind of had a small squad a lot of the time.
The disappointment came, but there was also an acceptance because Moyes improved Everton all the time. The disappointment was we didn't give him any money. That summer 2004. Absolutely, we were disappointed because we just lost Wayne Rooney and we replaced him with Marcus Bent, who didn't score goals, and Tim Cahill. But
then the following summer was very good. I loved
Timmy. The following summer we spent money and brought a lot in. It wasn't quite what he wanted because a few. We couldn't quite budge on Scott Parker. We couldn't up it $5,000 to get him, even though his agent was on the phone to Everton something like 40 minutes before he walked into that press conference at Newcastle saying, if you match it, he will come to you. We just couldn't budge it, and he'd have been really good for Everton. We needed that dynamism. Mikel Forsell we had in the building, and his knee, he failed a medical because he went on and still got 19 goals, I think, or something. Then his knee did sort of start playing up, so it was the correct decision. It just didn't happen. We wanted Carlo Cudicini. I remember I was working at the time, so I'd seen all the paperwork. Cudicini, Chelsea pulled the plug on that one. So he wanted different players, and he got some that were decent and others that didn't quite work out. Simon Davis never worked out, Kralsup didn't. But he got the club. The year later, he went and got James Beattie, didn't he? We got, the year later, we had different players again. He was getting Andy Johnson in and Lescott. We had Pienaar come in, Tim Howard. So every year we improved your Kubu. It's only, and then I think again in
when we sold Arteta.
We had Royston, Trent and Strachwell Hershey. We didn't spend any money because there was no money. It wasn't David Moyes because of David Moyes. It was because the club.
You brought in Morales and a few others. Morales was
a bit
different for us.
Morales was totally different, and he was always trying to upgrade it. And that's what he'll do this time. And he'll try and do it quicker because he realises he's not 39, 40 anymore.
Yeah.
And he wants it just as quick, but he wants it for us as well and for him because he's never thrown it.
But I think this time around, he actually has an opportunity to get some decent players. So it'd be interesting to see if we do get a marquee signing or someone like that's of a good value, how much and who do we actually get, and who has, because I saw him on a podcast, I think it was Steve Bartlett's podcast, the CEO, and he was saying like you live and die by your recruitment. I think he nearly signed Alvarez for West Ham, and they couldn't sign him or whatever, and he went to Sydney. Obviously he's gone to Atletico and played for
It's done well,
the mighty Argentina, winning the World Cup and stuff like that. But I just always think he has an eye for a player. He's really good at that. And even the players that maybe flopped at West Ham, they were still always good players, because the ones that kind of flop everywhere else then that they went after or whatever, like Haller and these sort of players, they were always still good players. So he still always had an eye. Maybe some of them just don't always work out. Obviously we'll want them to work out, but not all of them, I suppose, will.
No, that's football, isn't it? Stephen, Marcus Bent was very good for us, but when we signed him, we were linked with Darren Bent, who was the big, bright young thing, and we got Marcus Bent.
At Charlton, wasn't he?
And people were like, okay, he's coming in as a squad striker, and he ended up being our main. He scored 5 goals, so he wasn't great, but he worked his socks off. He was brilliant for Moyes' team, because what he did off the ball, he was fantastic. But at the time, people weren't overly impressed, mate, trust me.
You take a 4th place for finish now?
Absolutely. That's what you got to do, haven't you?
But like that, we were in worse positions on the Moyes previously, and we managed to make things do well. I know it's in a completely new era and a completely new look and everything like that, and probably the Premier League's a lot better now. But I would have full faith in him. I've done what he's done this season with the crap that we had to put up with for the first half of the season and so on. I would have full faith in him to get us to have a good season next year. And whether that we might start slow and then finish strong, because traditionally our team does finish strong under him. But ideally you'd want a full, strong season of like, I mean, the top 8 sort of finish. You'd want if you're really ambitious, you want top 6. But I think
Get out, Paul.
No, but I'm not being really ambitious. I'm saying if you are though, you'd want that.
It's about points. I don't think you can choose places. It's about points. Points will determine it, because you could get the most. We got 72 points once and finished 5th.
Yeah, but I just think
72 points would have put you in the Champions League, something like 14 of the previous 15 years or whatever it was.
I just think with Moyes this time, like, we beat a lot more of the teams that are around us that we probably weren't doing under Deutsch. We'd probably do better.
Infinitely better than you're talking about. A manager who's a top level manager and a Sunday League level manager.
Yeah, I know.
No, a negative manager who's there to try and get 37, 38 points against a manager who is aiming for Europe.
But he'll be setting us up to beat teams and stuff like that, and we have the belief now that we can go out and we can beat teams a lot more this season. So like, I'm looking forward to the season.
No, it is. We'll go. Put it this way: we'll try and win every game.
Yeah,
and whether
except
we
for
do
the top
not.
4 away.
Well, we tried to win at Anfield this year. And,
yeah, in fairness, we were good.
We were a whisker away from getting ahead, weren't we? On Premier, a few people saying no to Kyle Walker, which is fine. Colin says not sure we could afford him. His pace is stunning, but I'm on the fence. Yeah, well, again, not saying people should be not on the fence. Everyone's got an opinion. Ian says afternoon all, definitely no to Walker. He's past it. Okay. Mark says I'm not against the deal. He can bring experience and leadership, still has quality. And we're keen now not staying. He can slide into the centre back. He can set the standards. And he's better than Kufel and the relegated Walker Peters. Jez says Kyle Walker is a decision, but I don't feel like it's a good one. I also feel like it sends out a weird message right now, but I'll go with what Moyes thinks.
I think a lot of people are feeling that way.
That's fine. Paul says if Kyle improves us, I'm all for it, but only for a season. or 2 at the most while we find the correct young right back. My biggest question is around his pace. Is he smart enough to adapt his game as he gets slower? You either trust the manager or you don't. Simple as that, really, isn't it? Liam says, plays across the back line, has more pace than anyone on the side. He'd be Ashley Young, but 5 years younger. Makes loads of sense, but as usual, we have, I'll paraphrase, people who want to moan about everything. If Moyes wants him, that's good enough for me. Stephen says, sign Walker. He's consistently played at a high level, never dropped off. He was at Milan last year. He'd walk in as the best right back at our club immediately, even if it's just for a year or two. Thomas says, I'd take Walker, but also get in a young right back if Moyes isn't happy with Patterson. Walker would be great for the young right back to learn off. Plus, he seems like a great character. Nathan says, I think he'd be a good stopgap like Ashley Young was. I think Moyes and Everton scouts will have to be crafty to find good talent in the spots we need with the money available. If he fits the mould, a former Premier League champion can't be that bad. Tim says, afternoon lads, definitely a no. Okay. Everton Viking says, whoever's approving or trying to get Kyle Walker signed should be sacked. It's absolutely ridiculous. He's finished. Okay. Also, if we miss out on Guy, I'd be furious, and even more furious if we offer Walker a 2-year deal and miss out on Guy because we can't finalise that. Ryan says, have we asked Kufal whether Walker can come to us? Yeah. David says, he's finished. No and no. Okay. Eddie says, so if it's like a free or a loan, because I don't want him on loan. I don't want to pay more than 5 million. Yeah, we shouldn't get him on loan because that would take up other positions, wouldn't it? Brian says, a big no from me, would rather have Young back. David says he's finished. Stan says he improves us. End of. It'll leave more money or whatever money we've got to be used elsewhere. Mike Raff says, welcome to Man City Players Daily Live. Yeah. Ian says, more important positions to fill before ripe. Well, if his wages are astronomical, we won't get him, will we?
No, on to the next.
On to the next one, isn't it? Kev says, it's all about the price. If it's buttons, fine. If it's real money, upgrade Ghana. Upgrade Ghana and have Ghana cover it right back. Yeah. Thomas says, Ped, where can I get the yellow 86 Everton shirt? I think it's 85. This one. I've checked everywhere, even the site you say. Ped?
Can't have it.
Okay. Don't know, Thomas, is the answer. Jay says, stay away from mercenaries at the end of their careers. We may as well have kept Young, who had a great attitude. Didn't people call him a mercenary at the end of his career?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of me misses Ashley Young.
He what?
Like, a part of me will miss Ashley Young.
Bill,
Which I never thought I'd say at the end of last season.
No. Bill says maybe we need a mix of youth and experience. The experience is probably going to be frees and lower fee players. Yeah, exactly. Slat says no. Thomas says I'm not the first person to say this. We look like John Covana. Don't know.
Me?
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't even know John Conor McGregor. Something to do with Conor McGregor. I have no clue. Joey says, interesting chat about Walker. He's still an international player, plays most weeks, not had bad injuries, and his honours list and experience is as good as anyone. I suspect some of the people expressing reservations will ignore Seamus's issues and will want him to be signed. I want to keep Seamus, by the way. In the bigger scheme of things, we'd already signed top signings. We'd want the top signings we want, rather, people would be saying.
John Kavanagh.
Well,
you look like John Kavanagh.
I don't know. No, you do with the beard.
No, I definitely don't look like him.
He's got a beard and the dark hair like him. I don't have a beard now.
He's got grey hair now.
Well, you say he's got grey hair, but timing is important. I'd take him and use it as a catalyst to give the club better credibility and try and attract others.
He probably meant sounds like.
Luke says the comments of some of these fans, what is the point in supporting the team if you can't aspire to achieve anything? Yeah, maybe just been hurt too many times and don't want to sort of believe and look for something better. I don't know. Tink says, can we all just take a chill pill? In Moyes we trust. We all have our opinions on who should be in our next squad of players, but 2 points I'd like to point out. Firstly, we have a better manager, better owners and better stadium. Sorry, old lady, but it's true. That's 3 points, not 2. But fair play.
But he's correct.
He is correct. Paddy says, I'm all on board for any new signings. Haven't been this excited by a transfer window for a long time. Don't mind grabbing some of Man City's dregs, but feel like we couldn't. Let's trust the manager, the new owners and the board. Stop rubbishing players. We need a mix of experience, youth and pace. This will come in freeze loans and players in the 30s and targeted 4 or 5 players. Paul says we got a 20-goal season. Striker, start better all season and he'll get that number. We still need another couple of strikers, don't we, though? Tink says, oh, this was his second point he'd used. Okay, fair play. Secondly, we're in a better position to move forward in the future to put Everton back on the map and compete with the elite. It takes time, and we all have that in abundance. Okay. Graham says, in Moyes we trust. Come on, look forward and be positive. The Friedkins will be doing that. Stan says, yes, we are the most pessimistic, downtrodden supporters. It's a big job. Yes, there'll be bumps in the road, but come on, look how we finished. Look at the change since Moyes come back. Let's be positive. Let's look ahead. We can't change things overnight. It's a process. Throwing money at it won't work. We've seen that. Stability and steady progression all day long for me. Ashley Young was one of our first signings when we brought him in because it was easy. Luke says we're making the cheap signings that we can afford this side of June the 30th, and after it we can spend money. What's important is that we keep bodies coming through the doors. Yeah. Stan Smith says, here's another one. We can go for whoever, but we can only actually get the players who want to come in, for whatever reason that is. Stephen says, Kyle Walker walks into this team and dramatically improves it. A big yes for me, and has that ding-ding Premier League winning experience. Says I can live with Beto for another season if it means going out and getting a solid fast right winger. We still need strikers. Joe says, I advise people to watch Moyes after the Southampton game. He told us that he needs to be on it from day one next season. The constant moaning isn't doing anyone favours. The squad needs experience and sprinkling of better quality. Walker is a mix of both, so the possibility of him joining is fine by me. Stephen says, Jared is the key to how this window unfolds and has to be decided quick. If we're selling, changes the whole transfer landscape. If we're not, I'm expecting a couple in and the rest towards the end of the window. I don't know about the email thing, Paul. To be honest, if you're not getting notified, I don't know, mate.
Wait, what's that? If you're having sound problems, refresh.
Okay. Blue Joey says, in Baz we trust. It's not me, mate. I'm just trying to be positive looking ahead because we don't know what what we're going to happen. Jay says, if Dyche went after these players, what players, Jay? What players have we gone after? Tierno Barry had have been going to Sean Dyche and buying him whatever drink he wanted if he'd have looked at a young, exciting striker. He brought in Ashley Young. You went with it. So,
Would you prefer Kyle Walker over Kieran Trippier?
Yeah. Because he's actually
Danny
won.
Ings or Tierno Barry?
Danny Ings or Tierno. Yeah, well, that was his big play for January was Danny Ings and Josh Brownhill.
Yeah.
So, Jay.
Someone's just leaked fixtures, but I don't know if they're true.
No, they're not. They don't.
I've seen the Palace first game.
Palace.
No, Arsenal 12:30.
Oh, really?
16th of August.
Yeah. Well, that's the third.
Palace.
It was Palace this morning, Manchester United at 11:30, and now at 2:05 it's Arsenal.
At 12:30.
At 12:30.
On Saturday.
They always do it. Everton will be away, I think, first game.
Yeah,
He's been at
possibly,
home for
no.
4 seasons.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
It's clearly someone's just typed it up.
GPT.
Everton Viking says it's not 20 years ago though. Football's okay. Listen, Everton Viking, there's a big rant. Moyes is brilliant, and I trust him. And at the moment, you don't trust the process, not Moyes. I'm not putting words in your mouth. The process, fine. I don't know who we'll sign who'll make you happy. We'll see. We'll see. I know that by the end of the window, you'll be able to have your say, and you might be right. We might have signed all of our players who are 30. I don't know. But I'm not spiralling this summer. Let it play out. So yeah, you look and sound like him. This according
John
to Thomas.
Kavanagh.
I don't know who he is. I have no clue who he is.
Just Conor McGregor's MMA
I don't know.
coach.
Conor McGregor, Conor McShegger. I've got no interest in the fella.
Yeah, but it's his
Good
coach.
lad.
I think he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just saying that's.
Yeah. No, I don't know anything to do with Conor McGregor. I've never watched him. I wouldn't watch him. Wouldn't entertain him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he doesn't watch me or entertain me. So we're equal. We're fully equal, me and him.
It's the first time I've ever heard someone say that about me. But yeah.
Will
I don't know how to take
says just sign Cuca Martina and we'll win it all.
Kuko.
Yeah. Get Big Cuca in. Get Big Cuca in.
Imagine he was being linked.
Why not? Anyway, let's see what happens. There'll be loads. There will be loads of players, I imagine, that Everton are linked with. Some will be real links, some won't be real. And we'll have to just see. But it's going to be on David Moyes. He's not stupid. He did say it again. Anyone, if you were lucky enough to be in the ground, and it's been repeated anyway, when he got on the mic and he turned to the director's box and said, they need to back us. He knows what he wants, So you just get on with it, don't you? You just get on with it and go, let's see what happens. There's loads of younger players who we could go, but the manager will have a plan how it looks, won't he? And what he can get. And we'll have to see where he goes with it. Right. Thank you very much to Paul. Thank you very much to everyone who's joined us. Make sure you like and subscribe. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? But let's hope that we do start to get people in soon.
Yeah.
Would be good. But we might have to wait for anything. Sort of big monetary wise to be July the 1st. Just on a Zisagana Gate quickly, because that's broke today. Where are you with that one? I mean, obviously,
we have
desperate for him to sign. But
yeah.
Are you worried? Are you a little bit concerned that he hasn't? Ren apparently interested in him today. Paris FC have made a play for him. A couple of Saudi clubs have looked at him.
No, I'm not really worried because I think he's probably gone on holiday. He was playing international football last week, so he's probably gone on holiday with his family. I think the early signs are good. There's no reason for him to go away. It seems like Everton are his club, as in a club he loves, and he really wants to be a part of where we are. I think there might be a little bit of an issue in terms of the length of the contract, but if he gets that, which I imagine Moyes will just at this stage be like, if that's what he wants, give it to him. The 2 years. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't really. I mean, you could phase him out after that second year. It's not really a problem. It gives us another year to kind of look at a replacement for him. But yeah, look, like Ren, they're not like, if it was someone bigger, you kind of go, or Monaco or something, you kind of go, okay, that's a bit more attractive. But to go and play for Ren, and I don't even know where they finished in the league last season, but it wouldn't be appealing. Whereas Everton are in an exciting trajectory that he probably would have wanted to have been part of that while he's been at the club. So now he could be in that position and even play a part in helping us get to that next stage of where we all want to be.
Well, if he's asking for 2 years, and it's been reported, I don't know, but it's been reported that he wants 2 years, would you give him 35?
Yeah, I give it
You
to
would.
him. Yeah.
Okay, fair play. That was it. That was all. That was all I wanted to know.
Would you?
Yeah, because he's still Everton's best midfielder. But I get it if they're sort, because
Yeah.
we've banged on about them being more cautious with what they do, and
Well, I think it comes back to Ped's point earlier. Is like you look at how quickly Kyle Walker fell off. So that could happen,
easily, yeah.
you know, this season with Ghana Gay, but hopefully not. Obviously, we want him to be still pulling strings for us and being the one that gets about. And people laugh at me when I say he's like a top level player. Like people that probably don't watch Everton enough, saying that he's a top player. Like his stats last season were brilliant as well.
Fantastic. He was fantastic. Most tackles in Europe again. Ren finished 12th, thanks to Kieran, who's give us that stat there. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll better worry about Ren. But I would like, that's the one I would really like for him. When it is, you know, get him sort of agreed and signed and out there, then I think a lot of people will sort of go, right, we've got that now. We're sorted. I know you weren't talking to me, Thomas. You were talking to Paul. I said the beard and the hair. Paul was the one saying about grey hair, not me. I certainly don't have a beard, never had a beard.
Yeah, but I think they could potentially be waiting till the July 1st and have a load of them ready to go and announced on the day, like Seamus and Alcaraz. Will he?
That's already been.
Has he already had a signed picture or not?
No, when he come back, he'll do that. But it has been announced that we've agreed, we've done it. So hopefully there might be a couple we could do with that. Where we go, the joining on. I've seen someone announce, Leeds have announced.
Yeah, youngster.
Mensch, isn't it? They've announced him, and he from Germany.
Yeah, but he was at the jersey and stuff.
Metze, yeah. Devon Mensch has been. Is it Brent? There's a couple want him as the right back, Mensch. Nemce, yeah, but he said that he'll join on July the 1st. Everton needs to do something like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
just publicly said, yeah.
But like last few, Mark says I was relaxed by the Mikel Antonio link. That's how much I trust Moyes. Keith says, just getting slightly concerned as there's lots of reports and links, but not in concrete. We go to the US in a little over 5 weeks and we don't even have a second string squad at the moment. Got to be lots of movement before that plane takes off. Yeah, I agree, Keith. And Bappy says, would I take Walker? Yes, bags of experience, arguably still one of the top 5 or 6 right backs in the league. Do I think we'll get him? No. Wage demands will be too high and he'll go and play in Turkey. Good place to leave it. Right, see you all later. Bye.